take you back to a moment in my own life. Years ago, I was the guy who held on too tightly to relationships, to outcomes, to the need to be seen. I thought gripping harder would make me matter more. But one day, standing in the ashes of a dream I'd clung to for too long, I realized something profound. The tighter you hold, the more you lose. That's when I learned detachment isn't about being cold or distant. It's about being so full of your own purpose, your own vision, that you don't need to borrow worth from anyone else. Think about it. When you stop chasing approval, you start radiating value. When you let go of forcing outcomes, opportunities chase you. Detachment is freedom. It's the courage to say, I am enough, and mean it. It's walking into a room knowing your worth isn't tied to who's watching or what they think. And that, my friends, is what makes you unforgettable. Imagine a life where you're not controlled by fear of loss, where you move with the ease of someone who knows their path is already lit. That's the power of letting go, not to push the world away, but to pull your truest self forward. So I ask you today, what are you holding on to that's holding you back? What dream, what fear, what need is keeping you from stepping into your own irresistible light? Because when you learn to release, to trust in your own value, you become a force, a person others can't help but gravitate toward. Let's talk about how detachment doesn't just set you free. It makes you the kind of person who changes the room, who changes lives, who changes the world. Imagine walking into a crowded room, every eye flicking towards you, not because you demanded attention, but because you didn't need to. There's a spark in your step, a quiet fire in your gaze, and a presence that pulls people in like gravity. You're not shouting for approval, not chasing validation. You're just you, unapologetically whole. And somehow, that makes everyone want to know your secret. What is it about that kind of person, the one who seems to carry their own light, that makes them so magnetic? The answer lies in a single word: detachment. Detachment radiates confidence, drawing others to your inner strength. And today, I want you to discover why letting go makes you absolutely irresistible. Picture someone you admire, someone who walks through life with an effortless glow. Maybe it's a colleague who never seems rattled, even when deadlines loom, or a friend who listens deeply but never clings to your approval. What sets them apart? It's not their looks, their wealth, or their status. It's their unshakable sense of self. They've mastered the art of detachment, not as a wall to keep others out, but as a window to let their true strength shine through. Detachment isn't about being aloof or indifferent. It's about being so grounded in your own worth that you don't need to borrow it from anyone else. And that, my friends, is what makes people lean in, curious, captivated, wanting to know more. Let me take you back to a moment that changed me. I used to be the guy who measured my worth by how many people clapped for me, how many said yes, how many doors opened when I knocked. I was desperate to be seen, to be enough. But one day, after a crushing rejection, a job I poured my heart into didn't come through, I stood in front of a mirror and asked myself, who am I without their approval? The silence was deafening. But it was also a spark. I started to let go, not of my dreams, but of my need to control how others saw me. I stopped gripping so tightly, and something shifted. People noticed me more, not less. Opportunities came, not because I chased them, but because I was finally free to be me. That's the magic of detachment. When you stop clinging to external validation, you start radiating a confidence that's raw, real, and magnetic. It's like wearing an invisible crown. You don't have to announce it. Everyone feels it. Think about the people who draw you in. They're not the ones begging for your attention. They're the ones who know who they are and live it boldly. They've let go of the need to be everything to everyone. And in doing so, they become someone to everybody. Why? Because confidence born of detachment is contagious. It's a signal to the world that you found your own center and others can't help but want to orbit around it. Ask yourself, what would happen if you stopped chasing applause? If you walked into every room knowing your worth isn't tied to who's watching? Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you start caring about the right things, your growth, your vision, your unique spark. When you embrace that, you become a mystery others want to unravel, a light they want to stand in. You become irresistible not because you tried to be, but because you dared to be free. Let's explore how to ignite that confidence and make it your own. Now let's dive deeper into this irresistible freedom. Have you ever watched someone chase a dream so hard they lost themselves in the process? Picture a runner sprinting toward a finish line that keeps moving, their breath ragged, their heart heavy, because no matter how fast they go, it's never enough. I've been that runner, gripping so tightly to what I thought I needed, success, recognition, control, that I forgot how to live. But here's the secret that changed everything. Letting go of outcomes doesn't mean giving up on your dreams. It means freeing yourself to live them authentically, boldly, and without chains. Detachment sets you free to chase what matters with a heart full of courage and a mind unburdened by what-ifs. Think about the weight you carry when you're obsessed with how things should turn out. Every step feels like a test, every moment a verdict on your worth. I remember a time when I poured everything into a project, nights, weekends, my whole soul, because I believed its success would define me. When it didn't go as planned, I was crushed. Not because the project failed, but because I'd tied my value to its outcome. That's when I learned holding too tightly to results traps you in a cycle of fear and doubt. But when you let go, something extraordinary happens. You start moving through life with a lightness, a clarity that makes every step feel alive, every choice feel true. Detachment is like cutting the strings of a puppet. You're no longer jerked around by what you can't control. Instead, you dance to your own rhythm, guided by your own vision. Imagine planning a business, a relationship, a dream, and instead of obsessing over every detail, you focus on showing up as your best self. You prepare, you act, you give your all. But you release the need to force the results. Suddenly, the world opens up. Opportunities you didn't expect find you. People are drawn to your authenticity, your courage to trust the process. Why? Because there's something magnetic about someone who moves with purpose but doesn't cling to outcomes. Picture a painter creating a masterpiece. They pour their heart into every stroke, but they don't stand over the canvas agonizing about whether it'll hang in a gallery. They paint because it's who they are. That's the freedom detachment brings. You create, you live, you love, not to win a prize, but because it's your truth. And that truth, it's irresistible. People are pulled toward those who live with bold authenticity, who aren't afraid to let go and trust that their value shines through no matter what. Ask yourself, what outcome are you clinging to that's dimming your light? What would happen if you released it? If you trusted that your best effort is enough? This isn't about apathy, it's about power. It's about choosing to live so fully in the present that the future can't scare you. When you let go of outcomes, you're not abandoning your goals. You're setting them free to unfold as they're meant to. You become a force, someone who moves with grace, who inspires others to do the same. You become the kind of person who doesn't just chase dreams, but lives them every single day. Let's uncover how to embrace this freedom and make it your own. Now let's peel back another layer of this magnetic freedom. Have you ever felt like you're running on a treadmill, chasing someone else's applause, only to realize you're still not enough? I've been there. Smiling for the crowd, tweaking myself to fit their expectations, thinking their approval would fill the void inside. But here's the truth that set me free. Your value isn't tied to external validation. It's within you, burning bright, waiting for you to claim it. When you embrace this, you don't just walk through life, you light it up, drawing others to your unshakable core. Imagine a moment when you felt truly alive. Not because someone praised you, but because you were fully yourself. Maybe it was a quiet evening sketching your dreams or a bold choice to speak your truth, no matter who was listening. That's where your value lives, not in the likes, the nods, or the promotions, but in the spark that's uniquely you. I remember a time when I stood on a stage, heart pounding, waiting for the crowd's reaction to define my worth. One day, after a talk that didn't land the way I'd hoped, I walked off stage and realized their applause doesn't make me. I do. That shift changed everything. I stopped performing for validation and started living from it. Detachment from external validation isn't about ignoring others. It's about trusting the treasure inside you. Think of the people who captivate you. They're not the ones begging for approval. They're the ones who know their worth and let it shine. They've stopped measuring themselves by others' yardsticks and started carving their own path. That's what makes them irresistible. When you root your value in yourself, you move with a quiet power that pulls people in. They sense it. The confidence of someone who doesn't need to prove anything because they already know who they are. Picture a diamond buried deep in the earth. Its brilliance doesn't depend on who sees it, it just is. You are that diamond. Your value doesn't come from someone else's gaze, it's in your ideas, your courage, your ability to rise after every fall. But how often do we dim that brilliance, waiting for someone to say you're enough? I challenge you to ask, what if you stopped waiting? What if you looked in the mirror and saw the truth that you are already whole, already worthy, already a force? When you let go of needing others to affirm you, you unlock a radiance that's impossible to ignore. This kind of detachment is liberation. It's the courage to create without fear of criticism, to love without fear of rejection, to live without fear of judgment. It's standing tall in your own story, knowing that your value is non-negotiable. People are drawn to that. They can't help it. They see someone who's free, who's real, and they want to know how to get there too. So, what's holding you back from claiming your worth? What external measure are you letting define you? When you release that need, you don't just find yourself, you become the kind of person others can look away from, because your light is your own. Let's discover how to own that value and let it shine. Let's step deeper into this journey of magnetic freedom. Have you ever felt the weight of fear holding you back? Like an anchor dragging you down just when you're ready to soar? I've stood at that edge, paralyzed by the thought of losing something, a job, a relationship, a dream I'd poured my heart into. It's suffocating, but here's a truth that will set you ablaze. Releasing the fear of loss doesn't just lighten your load. It unlocks your ability to attract opportunities you never imagined. When you let go of that grip, you don't just survive, you thrive, pulling possibilities toward you like a magnet. Picture a tightrope walker, high above the ground, moving with grace. They don't cling to the rope in panic. They trust their balance, their training, their instinct. That's what detachment from fear looks like. It's not about denying what you want. It's about trusting that you're enough to face whatever comes. I remember a time when I clung to a failing partnership, terrified of what I'd lose if it ended. Every decision was laced with dread, every step heavy with what if. But when I finally let go, when I chose to release that fear, something shifted. Doors I hadn't even seen began to open, new connections, new ideas, new paths. Why? Because fear was no longer clouding my vision. When you release the fear of loss, you make room for what's meant to find you. Think about the people who inspire you most. They're not the ones cowering, afraid to lose their place. They're the ones who move forward, unafraid, because they know their worth isn't tied to what they might lose. That courage is irresistible. It's like a beacon, drawing opportunities, relationships, and moments that align with your truest self. When you stop clutching at what might slip away, you start attracting what's meant to stay. It's not magic. It's the power of a mind and heart set free. Imagine planting a seed. You don't dig it up every day to check if it's growing. You water it, trust the process, and let it bloom. That's what letting go of fear does for your life. You plant your efforts, your dreams, your energy, and you trust that the right outcomes will find you. I once met a woman who lost everything, her business, her savings. But instead of crumbling, she rebuilt with a fire in her eyes. She told me, I stopped being afraid of losing, and that's when I started winning. Her fearlessness didn't just bring her back, it made her magnetic, pulling in partners, ideas, and success she'd never dreamed of. So I ask you, what fear of loss is holding you back? What are you clutching so tightly that it's keeping you from moving forward? When you release that fear, you're not giving up, you're opening up. You're saying to the world, I'm ready for what's next. And the world responds. Opportunities flow to those who aren't afraid to let go because they've already found their strength within. That's the kind of person people can't resist. Someone who faces the unknown with boldness, who attracts abundance by refusing to be defined by loss. Let's explore how to release that fear and invite the opportunities waiting for you. Now, let's ignite the final spark in this journey of magnetic freedom. Have you ever met someone who seems to glide through life? Not because everything goes their way, but because they carry a quiet certainty, a purpose that lights up every step? I've stood in awe of people like that, wondering what makes them so captivating, so impossible to ignore. The answer hit me like a lightning bolt. True irresistibility comes from embracing your purpose with ease, from living so fully in your own truth that the world can't help but take notice. When you anchor yourself in what you're meant to do, you become a force that draws others in. Picture a time when you felt completely alive, when you were doing something that felt so right, it was as if the universe was cheering you on. For me, it was the first time I spoke to a room full of strangers, not to impress them, but to share a piece of my heart. I wasn't chasing their approval. I was living my purpose, and it felt like flying. That moment taught me that purpose isn't just a goal, it's the fire inside you, the reason you get up every morning. When you embrace it with ease, without forcing or doubting, you radiate a confidence that's magnetic. People don't just see you, they feel you. Embracing your purpose with ease means letting go of the need to overcomplicate it. It's not about having all the answers or a perfect plan. It's about trusting that your unique spark, your talents, your passions, your vision is enough. I once knew a young artist who doubted her work, always comparing herself to others, always afraid she wasn't big enough. But one day she stopped striving to be someone else and started painting from her soul. Her art didn't just sell, it spoke. People were drawn to her not because her work was flawless, but because it was hers, infused with a purpose she embraced without apology. Think of the people who captivate you. They're not the ones trying to be everything. They're the ones who know exactly who they are and live it unapologetically. That's what makes them irresistible. When you let go of the pressure to prove your worth and instead lean into what sets your heart on fire, you create a ripple effect. Your purpose becomes a beacon, pulling in opportunities, connections, and moments that align with your truth. It's like a dance. You move with the rhythm of your own calling, and others can't help but want to join in. So ask yourself, what's your purpose and what's stopping you from embracing it with ease? What if you stopped second-guessing your path and started walking it with confidence? When you live from that place, you don't need to shout to be heard. Your life speaks for you. You become the kind of person who changes rooms, who inspires others to find their own spark. That's the power of purpose, lived with ease. It's not just freedom. It's a magnet that draws the world to you because you're no longer chasing life, you're living it. Let's uncover how to embrace your purpose and let it make you unstoppable. My friends, as we stand here together, let's pause and feel the electricity in this moment. You've heard the truth. Detachment isn't about losing. It's about gaining the freedom to become who you were always meant to be. You've discovered that letting go of outcomes, releasing the need for validation, shedding the fear of loss, and embracing your purpose with ease doesn't just set you free. It makes you a force, a light, a presence that the world can't ignore. You are not here to shrink, to cling, or to chase what's fleeting. You are here to rise, to shine, to live so boldly that your very existence inspires others to do the same. Picture yourself tomorrow stepping into your life with a new kind of courage. You walk into every room, every challenge, every dream, knowing your value is unshakable, your purpose undeniable. You don't need permission. You don't need applause. You are enough, more than enough. And when you live from that truth, you become unstoppable. The world doesn't just notice you, it needs you. Your spark, your vision, your fearless authenticity will ripple out, changing lives, shaping futures, and leaving a legacy that echoes long after you're gone. So here's my challenge to you. Start today. Let go of one thing, one fear, one doubt, one need that's holding you back. Step into your purpose with ease, with boldness, with the kind of confidence that makes people stop and stare. Be the person who doesn't just dream, but lives those dreams out loud. You have everything you need within you to be irresistible, to attract the opportunities meant for you to become a force that moves the world. Don't wait for tomorrow. Your moment is now. Good luck, my friends, as you unleash your unstoppable light. Thank you for daring to be you.